It's been quite some time, but I finally got my hands on Intel's new 11th gen processors, codenamed Tiger Lake. This is the Asus ZenBook Flip 13 and it's packing the new Intel Core i7-1165G7. Now, I'm really excited. Now, I may not look like it, but I really am. But I still have to say that this is still slightly different. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, the performance, the specs, the thermals, all that stuff, I do want to talk a little bit about the design of the ZenBook Flip 13. Because even though it's a ZenBook and I'm quite accustomed to seeing ZenBooks as of late, but this is one design that I'm actually really liking, like past like and to the point of loving it. It has a really minimalistic design and I also quite like the color, but more so than that, it's the little details that have been really refined, like the edges of the frame, the slight groove on the keyboard deck, the tapered silhouette, the slightly compressed keyboard to allow for more space for your wrist to rest on, so on and so forth. Now you might say that this doesn't look that much different from past ZenBook designs, and I wouldn't argue with that. I would say that you are pretty much 90% right, but that remaining 10%, I believe that remaining 10% are those little refinements that I just talked about, and I do feel that it really does make a difference, especially if this is going to be your daily driver. For the display, you do get a couple of options, the first being a standard 1080p IPS panel which I have right here, or a 1080p OLED panel. The IPS panel is honestly just great, giving you good color reproduction, covering 100% sRGB, and gets reasonably bright at about 350 nits. It'll do you well for any kind of video content or just general browsing. Now of course, you can opt for the OLED and that's arguably the better display, especially if you are into creative work like video or photo editing, because that display covers 100% DCI-P3 instead of just 100% sRGB. But then again, you have to take into account that is going to cost you quite a bit more. Up top, you do get your standard webcam, or in this orientation I guess it's going to be below. And like most other webcams in most other laptops, I would say that image quality is decent. It's not the best, but not the worst. And the same goes for the mic quality. Definitely alright if you're just talking with your friends over on Discord, and perhaps even conference call using Google Meets and such. In any case, if you need a webcam, there you have it. My only gripe thus far would be the size of the bezels, or specifically the chin, which I feel can still be slightly slimmer. Though if you're using this as a tablet, it's not too bad. Which of course, if you have yet to notice, you can do so, for it is a flip. Asus does also provide a pen should you want to get into some sketching action or just want to jot down something on the display like a notebook. For those of you who like to use a pen, that's great as well, and it also does support 4096 levels of pen pressure. Now although I would have liked to see the chin to be slightly slimmer, there is an side effect to this, and it's an advantage in my personal opinion, and that translates down to the keyboard. Because of the slightly taller chin, it means the physical size of the laptop is longer on the vertical axis. This means that you get slightly more space on the keyboard deck, and coupled with the slightly compressed keyboard on that same axis, it makes for a much better typing experience in my opinion. The keys themselves feel great as well, and you do get white backlighting. I have no qualms to the keyboard, and I do feel that the typing experience is almost as great as my Surface laptop. Almost. Moving down, we get the trackpad, which is a little elongated as well. Like the keyboard, I have no qualms about it. It's of a good size, it tracks well, and does also feature that touch numpad which might be useful for some of you out there. Next, we have the ports, and this is where I get to my second gripe about this laptop. You get a standard USB 3.2 on the right along with the power button, while on the left you do get a couple of Thunderbolt 4 ports and full-sized HDMI. Now Thunderbolt 4 is definitely a welcome, and it opens up a variety of accessories you can get to further enhance your experience with this laptop. My issue is that this laptop does not have a built-in 3.5mm headphone jack. Why? There clearly is more than enough space to have one. And yeah, I do know that Bluetooth is all the rage nowadays with great Bluetooth headsets or headphones like the Sonys or the Bose, but honestly speaking, I feel that a 3.5mm headphone jack should be the bare minimum in a laptop. And yes, Asus do provide a USB-C to 3.5mm dongle, but come on, If Apple can still put a 3.5mm headphone jack in their MacBooks, I feel that any other companies have no excuse. But enough about that. Let's get into performance, and this is where things get a little dicey but interesting. Now, back when Intel first announced their 11th gen processors, they showcased quite a number of benchmarks from synthetic to creative to gaming workloads, and they claimed superior performance in direct comparison to the AMD Ryzen 7 4800U. Now, take that with a grain of salt, but also remember that in those tests, in those benchmarks, Intel was using the full-fledged 28-watt version of their chip. But the Intel Core i7-1165G7 in our Asus ZenBook Flip 13 is configured for 15 watts. So with that in mind, let's get into the benchmarks. In Cinebench R20, the Tiger Lake chip scored a 1719 on the multi-thread run and 503 on the single-thread run. In comparison to the previous Ice Lake chip on the XPS 13, it's almost a 20% or so improvement across the board, and both of them are configured at the same 15W TDP. Now, in comparison to the AMD Ryzen 7 4800U, however, it's quite a bit different. The Ryzen 7 basically smashes Tiger Lake chip out of the water when it comes to multi-threaded performance. Not to be surprised at all, given it has twice the cores and threads, but here we see that Intel take back the single-threaded crown, proving that they're once again king when it comes back to lightly threaded workloads. In Resolve, the Tiger Lake chip manages to render the 1080p edit in about 45 minutes, while the 4K edit took about an hour and 15 minutes. In comparison to the Ice Lake chip, it is a slight improvement. When it comes to Ryzen, however, things aren't looking as great, with the Ryzen 7 4800U basically leaving the Core i7-1165G7 in the dust. But here's the takeaway. This particular i7 that I tested on this Flip 13 is configured for 15 watts, while the Ryzen 7 that I tested on the Lenovo IdeaPad Slim 7 was configured for 25 watts. So it's not exactly that fair of the comparison, but if you compare to previous Ice Lake chips that are configured for 15 watts, there is a definite improvement. But one of the biggest features which Intel boasted with 11th gen is the new Iris Xe graphics. So how does that stack up in terms of gaming? As you can see from the graph, you can pretty much expect very playable frame rates for games like CSGO. If you're more into graphically intensive esports titles like Apex or PUBG, I would suggest to drop both the resolution and graphics down a tad to achieve much better frame rates. As for AAA titles, it depends on the game, but I'll simply stay away from most. And for those of you who are into Genshin Impact, you can expect a 30fps experience. Now, if you were to compare to the Ryzen 7 which I tested before, the frame rates on average are just slightly worse, about 10% across the board. But if you were to take the TDP into consideration, then I would say that's par for the course. And if you were to compare the full-fledged 28 watts Intel chip to the Ryzen 7, then I would say that the performance would be pretty much similar or perhaps just a bit better. Of course, depending on the game. Now, if you're concerned about thermals, don't be. The laptop does keep that CPU relatively cool, hovering in the mid-70s at most for both creative and gaming workloads, and the fan doesn't spin all that loud as well, which is a plus. I do, however, have to mention that those performance numbers will not be what you're getting right out of the box. You actually, well, personally, I did have to update the BIOS, and you have to go and delve into the My Asus app and change the fan profile to performance mode, because on the standard profile, which is what it comes right out of the box, it doesn't limit the TDP of the chip, but it does limit the clock speeds and the fan speed, so performance does take a hit. In fact, here's the Cinebench R20 result which I ran right out of the box, and as you can tell, there is a stark difference. So if you're looking at this laptop, I would suggest to go into the settings and change it so that you're getting the best experience that you can. In terms of battery life, well, you needn't worry. I could easily get over 8 hours on a single charge with standard usage. So, that was a slightly more in-depth look into the Asus ZenBook Flip 13 featuring the new Tiger Lake processor. Granted, it is but just the 15W version of the chip and not the full-fledged 28W, but with that in mind and taking that into consideration, I would say that Tiger Lake is looking quite promising, and I can't wait to get my hands on a full-fledged 28W version of the chip to fully test it out. If you have any questions, drop us in the comment section down below, and if you'd like to support us, do consider checking out the affiliate links in the description as well. If you do, thanks for the support. Don't forget to subscribe to us, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Till the next one, see ya!